Hello, I would like to talk to you some more about cases, modifying, making them a little bit more user friendly. But first, what kind of cases can you modify? Would you want to modify something like this? Uh, Too cheap, too flimsy, and really not much there. I bought a set of extractors in this. Really, the case is just too flimsy. It's not worth messing with. This would be better as raw material to make something else out of. More about that in a minute. Something like this, would it be good? Well, it's fairly heavy, not bad, but look at that hinge. This hinge area is going to break sooner or later. Same thing with the latch. This thing's probably not going to be very good. Again, this, yeah, you can use it if you need something that size. You could cut out the bottom and the top. Add whatever you need for dividers. Make it last for a while. It's not going to last a real long time because all you're doing is flexing this piece of these pieces of plastic. It's not going to be great. Something like this, you've got some actual hinge type material. You've got some catches where you slide the things, and yes, this you can make into something worthwhile. Some of my stuff has moved. We'll get some more into that here in a bit. But yeah, you can modify this, excuse me, and make it into a very usable case. And as you can see here, I have actually taken 3 different kits and put them into one. Now, what I have done is heated the plastic, pushed the extractors into those, and then added some hot melt glue to hold this a little bit in place. Works pretty well. It's been riding around in my car for about a week or 2. Don't know much about the kits yet, but I have extracted a few bolts using these. So far so good. The left-hand drill bits seem to work good. Extractors seem to be working okay. But anyway, that's what you're looking for when you're wanting to do a case modification. Something that is going to stay with you and hopefully not break apart like this thing. Some other little things. I was needing a small set of some carbide burrs. Bought this kit off Amazon. Nice little 1/8 inch carbide burrs. They work good, but they didn't have quite all I was looking for. I was needing some good straights with some end cuts. It's got one here. As you can see, hopefully, that's a end cut, as well as side. Double cut, real aggressive, very nice little carbide burr bit. But I was wanting some more of these little things here for removing broken bolts and such. So I found another kit online. They had 5 of these. I wanted some extras for just in case. These things do tend to break pretty easy if you put sideways pressure on them. But I didn't want to be carrying my little pencil die grinder plus this, plus a baggie or what have you. So what did I do? I just took some hot melt glue and made some little openings here so I can actually take these out and put them in. So far they've been holding good. Hot melt glue works good on some cases, some it does not. You'll have to test it, make sure it bonds well with it. And different types of hot melt glue will work better than others. Something else you'll just have to test and experiment with. But so far, this has worked very well for me. I can get them out if and when I need them, put them back in, just grab this kit, my pencil die grinder, and go to work on bolt or whatever I need to. Maybe might need to modify a dash. I grab that and my pencil die grinder and go to town. Can you make usable containers out of anything else? Sure. Got some old dish soap, clothes soap, little candy containers, some ice cream containers. If you can use that, yeah, you can do that. If these aren't usable for whatever kind of container you're wanting to make, here's an option for using these, but not in this configuration. This little nugget here is just a little toaster oven. But it has where you can change this from this grate to a flat. You can take chunks of your plastic, cut them up, put them on here, put the whole thing in, whatever you want. Preferably you'll put some kind of parchment paper or wax paper or something like that down just to help keep it from sticking to the plates. Now these plates are non-stick. You can pick these up almost anywhere. Heat them up, bring that over, latch it down, let these heat up. Sooner or later you will have one homogeneous glob of plastic here. Be careful of this here. Make sure that you've got something stuck in here like your parchment paper or wax paper or something like that to help keep this from just running out. But anyway, once you've got this all melted down, and you can even take something like that, throw in here, melt it down. Once this becomes a homogeneous blob, you can then take that chunk of plastic, cut it using a rotary tool, die grinder, sawzall, circular saw, whatever you like to do, cut it up and use it for making your dividers and things in your cases. We're not going to go too far into that right now because that would probably be a whole nother series of videos. But that is an option. Other types of plastic that you can use, soda bottles, water bottles, spray can lids, anything that's plastic pretty much. Be careful, some of these spray chemicals might tend to combust under high temperatures and any kind of pressure, so be careful with stuff like that. But candy containers and things like that, I've never had any problem with melting those. So anyway, that kind of gives you some more options for your cases and such. One thing I did not touch on last time was the old metal containers. Now this is an old DeWalt case. A lot of these will come with plastic trays, or maybe they've got some kind of metal inlay for some kind of dividers and such. What can you do with something like this? It's got a good handle, it's got good latches, got a good hinge. This thing properly taken care of will last decades, quite possibly more than your lifetime. So the simplest, easiest way of modifying this would be get some of this foam stuff, okay. Maybe it's already been modified for holding some wrenches or something. You can cut these down and basically glue pieces up to make it the thickness that you want to fit into one of these. Then all you have to do is cut your grooves. And one thing that works real well for irregular shapes is something as simple as a soldering gun. Just a plain old, I don't care if it's a Weller, a Snap-on, a Craftsman, or whatever. As long as this thing gets hit hot, you can get it hot, go down into this foam, and it will literally just melt away from it. You can make openings in this, whatever size you want. Works fantastic. Get you a piece of wire, heat it up, stick it down in there and come back. It'll groove it. You pull the thing out. Fantastic for working with stuff like this. And again, a lot of times these will come in small little pieces, thin, but if you need something thicker, because that's not going to do a whole lot for this. I mean, it might be okay for up on top just to kind of help hold it in place. Little hot melt glue, any kind of glue that will stick to metal and foam, you can glue that in and use it that way. If, however, all you've got is thin little pieces like this, but you need to get something to fill this, take whatever kind of glue you've got. I don't care if it's Elmer stick glue, you know, project glue for school kids. Put that all around, mash them together. There you go. Get that as thick as you need it, put it in, fashion the edges to where it fits good. If it's not long enough, get another piece, glue to the end, keep going until you've got the thing completely filled up with your foam. And you can use different types of foam as long as it will fill out the void. You can do it that way. Works great. But let's say you don't have any of this sort of stuff and you can't find it anywhere around your town or what have you. Go back to melting this stuff, making one nice thick platform. You can then cut to the length, the width, overlap them where they'll go together, and you can make a nice little grid work to fit down in here. Works great for that. Or figure out the height here, cut these off, glue them in place. There's your actual little containers for something like this. And then what's in between? New little pockets for small stuff. It's an option. I'm not saying it's fantastic. You could take and cut top off this, move this top over, glue that down, helps to hold whatever you're wanting to store. Good idea, possible. Maybe you don't want to mess with plastic. It stinks when it's heating. I would much rather do that outdoors than indoors. But let's say you've got a metal container and you want to keep it all metal. Have you got some tin, sheet metal, roofing metal, whatever you want to call it? But this is corrugated. It's got these funky little bends and such. That wouldn't work too good. just take it out to your sidewalk with a hammer and beat it flat. I mean, now granted, it would be better if you had a good metal work table or an anvil where you could work this down. But you can take some tin snips or whatever kind of cutter you might have access to, cut the strips, make sure that they are taller than what you're wanting so you can bend the bottom over so you can put it down here, drill some holes, take some pop rivet that the dividers in place to hold them where you need them. It's an option. Is it the only option? Certainly not. That's what this channel is all about, is giving you ideas and options. Say you just got maybe an old ruler. Cut that thing up. It's not tall enough. When you cut it, cut two of the same length, whatever, glue one on top of the other. You can then cut down halfway on one, cut down halfway on the one going the other way, glue them in place. Now you've got a grid work to put in here to hold it in place. Possibility. Another thing is, if you're a woodworker, you've probably got some little chunks of old board sticking around, laying around. You can cut these up and use them. This is a little thick. Put it on your belt or your bandsaw, slice it, make it as thin as you want, use that. It's another option for doing dividers. Maybe you don't have the saws that you need to get this to the right thickness. Something else that you can simply buy is some plain old backer board. Now, I've had this around the house for ages, but all you would need to do is cut this to the right height and length and do the same thing and put in whatever you want, glue it in place to where it fits in there good. Now you've got a case with dividers in it that you can use, and you can buy this stuff at pretty much any home improvement store in America. So that's an option. They do come in two different thicknesses. This is a thicker. You might want the thinner so you're not wasting any more space than what you have to. Another little option, say you don't have a home improvement store where you can get to. Do you have a craft store? Walmart comes to mind. Target, Kmart, Hobby Lobby, any of those places. A lot of those will sell small thin pieces of wood. You might be able to do that. Say you don't have saws that you can get to. Here's another option. Plain old jumbo craft sticks, and you can get them in big boxes or little packages. Maybe some regular craft sticks. Now, what's the difference in those? Most people that have done any of that sort of stuff know they're pretty much the exact same thing, except one's larger than the other. So now, if you need to, you could take some of these jumbo craft sticks, glue them up edge on edge until you get to the height that you need. And a good way of holding these together, whatever kind of tape that you happen to want. Put this down on the tape, spread your glue on the edges, put them together. The tape will hold them in place while the glue sets. And then again, you can cut slots in them for the other to overlap. you can use those. They're too thin, won't hold up. Okay, what you do is you overlap them, something like that, making sure that your tape is in place. Fill this with glue. Make sure that you've got good coating on them. Bring it up, maybe cut the ends off, and the nice thing about these, you can do these with scissors. Scissors, side cutters, little cheap, any kind of tool for cutting will cut these things. So that's another option, and you can build it up or as thick as you want. Another option for you all to consider, it's a possibility. Is it a good one? Probably not real good, because the craft sticks, they're popsicle sticks basically. They're real flimsy. But it is an option. Something else that you can do. What kind of glue's best? Get you some plain old Elmer's, and I don't care if it's wood glue, white glue, whatever. Just as long as you've got any kind of glue that will hold wood, it will work. Once you get this set, again, some hot melt glue, some epoxy, whatever you want to put it into your case to hold it in place. And now you've got a nice little case for holding whatever you want. So this will hopefully give you a few more ideas. Something else you can do with your heater is we talked about cutting out parts of the blow mold cases, like these last time. Okay, cut these on up, put them into your little cooker, heater, toaster, whatever you want to call it. Melt these down, and then once they become a nice flat plate, you can cut these and use the original divider to actually make new dividers for your cases. Another way of using what would have been trash otherwise. One other thing, let me show you this. And I did not show you this in the last case video, but something else that you can do, say you're wanting to put something into this here, and let's just say you're wanting to put this in. I talked about heating the metal part up. If that's not a real good option, here's you another option. And these little butane torches are fantastic because you can adjust how much heat you're getting. But all you really need to do is work this back and forth along the place in the case that you want. You need to go fairly quickly, but not too quickly, because you're trying to heat the whole thing up. And I don't know, I doubt you can see this very well, but the coloring is actually changing in the plastic. Now all I need to do is hold that for a little bit while it cools off. And now you've got a nice little divot there for holding that particular tool. If I was going to hold it about like that. You could do that all the way down to hold a pair of pliers upright. And yes, you can come in here, heat something like this here up, until you can get it to go on down. And you can see again, that does work pretty well. Yes, this is still pretty warm. You don't want to be touching this immediately after doing it. Now this is already cooling off. It's warm, but it's not hot enough to blister me right now. This up here is still hot. Be careful when you're doing any of this sort of stuff so you don't get hurt. But that's another option, another possibility for adapting your cases. Again, probably stuff like this foam is your best way of going, but there are other options depending on your abilities. So I hope you like these videos I'm putting out. If so, I'd appreciate a nice like and maybe another subscriber or two. Got any questions? Please leave me a comment. I will try to get to them. I will try to answer any questions. Some of these are from some of my coworkers at work, and they've asked me a few questions here and there, mostly the younger mechanics. But if any of you out there on YouTube happen to see this and happen to have a question of, hey, where can I get this, or could I do this with something else? Leave me a comment. Let me know. I'll try to answer it. If you've got an idea that for a video that you think I could do, leave me a comment. Let me know. I'll look it over, see if it's something I can do, and if so, I'll try to do it and post it here. Until then, stay safe, stay creative, and have a little fun now and then. See you next time.